Hey guys, it's Leslie and Chris with Camp Photo Booths. We are doing a wedding today in Chino Hills. And look at this beautiful venue. It's so nice. I'm so excited. I can't wait to go in. We're gonna basically go in right now, check in with the wedding coordinator and see where they're gonna have us set up. So we'll be right back. Let's go. So once we know exactly where we're going to be set up, we basically will start unloading our vehicle. Guests are going to start arriving in 20 minutes, so we're trying to do this as fast as possible. We found out that we're going to be located on the second floor, so I've already taken a couple stuff upstairs and my husband's bringing the booth up. I'm going to start with the table. That's usually what I like to start with. So we're actually located right outside of the venue, like the reception hall. This is kind of a tight little spot. It's pretty small, so we're trying to still figure out how we want to set this up, and so that we're not in the way, but so that we also our setup looks nice. So this was a little bit challenging for us, but we'll definitely be able to do it. It won't be an issue. This is why we arrived 2 hours early to our events, so that if we run into anything like this, like, we have time to play around with our setup. But besides setting up the table first, the next thing I like to do is basically start setting up my stand, so we could put our backdrop, so that our backdrop will be up, so that our display begins to come along. And then depending on the backdrop that we have, I'll usually do that on my own, or if it's a harder one for me to do by myself, then I'll do that one with my husband. For example, this event is a flower wall, and this one is our greenery and white flower wall that we custom made. So this one's not heavy compared to my other flower walls that we purchased. So we're gonna use this black heavy duty banner stand. We have a couple different stands. We like this one. We use it for a couple of our backdrops, like our curtains, the light flower wall, and then we have a pillowcase stand, and then we also have a more heavy duty backdrop stand for our heavier flower walls, and this is just the one that we like to use a lot. And this is the one that was recommended to us by another photo booth owner, and it honestly, it works great. It does the job. So my husband's gonna get the flower wall ready because I have the side pieces already, and then I'm just gonna put that bottom piece in. And once we finish doing the bottom piece, then we'll grab the bar, and we'll basically the top bar, and we'll put that into the flower wall. We made like zip ties so that the bar could fit in. This is the flower wall that we made. We carry it in this black bag. We definitely need a bag for it, so if you guys have any suggestions, definitely leave them in the comments below, because I'm actually looking for one. But as you can see, it's just panels that we put together, and then these are the zip ties that I was telling you about. These zip ties, my husband's just gonna put the pole through them, and that's what's gonna hold it up. Here he's putting the pole, and yeah, that's basically all we do for this backdrop. Once we finish with this, then together we'll basically grab that backdrop, and then we'll put it onto the stand. Here we are just making sure the bottom piece is the same size as the top piece, so we don't have to adjust once it's on there. So now I'm basically gonna put the top piece into those screws that I told you the side pieces had, the top and the bottom piece, and you just want to make sure that's as tight as possible. And then once you have that done, you want to just kind of fix your backdrop on the top and make sure that it's covering everything that you want it to cover, even the side pieces. And then we will basically just begin to lift it. It's like 3 different pieces, so we want to lift the top one first, and then the middle one, And then once you finish doing that, what are we doing now? So once we finish doing that, we're basically going to put a cloth now behind our backdrop so that no light goes through it, and just in case there's like any little holes, basically this cloth will make them not noticeable. So I'm recording him here. This is what he's doing. This is the cloth that we have, and then let me get this better angle. So this is the cloth. This is how he puts it, and then we just use these clips to clip the cloth to the pole, and he makes sure to grab the wall with the cloth and the pole, like everything together. And then this is how our backdrop looks once it has the cloth, if you want to see like better, like from a phone. And then once we do that, we'll just move it into the place that we want it, and then now our backdrop is ready, and now we basically don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's kind of what we do first, and then after we do the backdrop, then he'll begin to work on the photo booth. So right now he's getting the flashes ready, and then he's gonna set up the mirror while I'm gonna get the table ready. I'm gonna do the tablecloth and the prop table, so I'm gonna set all that up while he basically does the mirror booth and the flash. So you guys will be seeing us doing that here. He's just adjusting the flower wall because he didn't like how the bottom clip looked. But yeah, so you guys can just see how I'm fixing the tablecloth here, and he is basically doing the flash right now, or he's actually taping something. Oh, so he's actually putting our extension cord. We like to run that before we start setting everything up, especially like if we know already where we're gonna be. So he already had an idea of exactly how he wanted everything to look. We had already discussed it, so he's just running the extension cord against the wall. There was like a base on the floor, the side of the rail, and he basically was taping that our extension cord to there because the outlet was behind the flower wall. So I am still working on that prop table. We had forgot our tablecloth, so we had to stop by Target and just grab some white bed sheets, and honestly it worked. We had to figure it out, and then we had a black tablecloth, so I was like, it's fine. I really didn't want to use black for the wedding, so these white sheets work perfectly. And then I ordered some better tablecloths after, but at this event I had to use this because this event was pretty good distance away from our house, so there was no going back, so we had to make a quick stop at Target for these. And right here, that's one of our flashes that he's setting up. We made them a custom album for this event, so this is our custom album. And then here my rubber band broke, and lately I've been having to put a rubber band on my hair because if not, my hair will get in my face and you will see me just constantly playing with my hair. So I'm trying to break that habit. So I've started wearing these little rubber bands to kind of just basically keep my hair out of my face and keep me from playing with it. But here I seen the bride, and they were announcing that the bride was coming, so they didn't want anybody to see her, and right below us was guest arriving. So once I seen her, she actually started talking to me, and then she was asking me questions, and then I was like, you know what, let me go show her her album. So I went to go talk to her really fast while she was outside waiting for people to leave downstairs. And yeah, and then after they were gonna have their ceremony, so downstairs, and right after the ceremony everybody was gonna come up to start taking photos for cocktail hour. So I started rushing, and this is the prop table that I'm setting up, and those are my lights. And I feel like I'm talking way too much, but yeah, this is our setup, guys. This is what we do before every event, and we make sure to arrive really early, well, at least 2 hours early, so that we're not rushing and so that we can have time to record like we did this day. My husband had no idea I was recording. And we also like to arrive early just so that we are relaxed and we're not rushing. Yeah, so that's all we're doing here is just basically setting up, especially because after this we're gonna start testing out the camera, and you guys will see that takes a little while. So I'm gonna stop talking for now, and then you guys can see how we basically got this event. Hey guys, so we actually got this event off of Google. They found us on Google, they searched photo booth rentals, and we came up. They checked out our website, and then they hit our contact us page, and we basically emailed them back, and we were able to book them. So definitely make sure you are posting on Google, because it definitely does help. We've gotten a few events through Google, so yeah, that's how we got this booking. I'm still here working on the prop table, and my husband's gonna start to open up our mirror booth. I really love these yellow towels that I'm using. They're called the microfiber towels. We purchased these at Costco, and I like to use them to clean our glasses because from events they can get have a bunch of fingerprints. So these towels basically will help with the fingerprints to remove that. I'm not sure if you also noticed, but prior I was using them to clean the gold bars. They work really good for pretty much about everything. I really like them. And then my husband has opened up the mirror booth already, and I literally will just wipe everything down with these yellow towels. I'm telling you, they're like amazing. My photo booth, I love it. My case, it opens in 3 pieces. So you have the bottom piece and then the 2 side pieces that are for the mirror. My husband right now is putting on the bottom piece of the mirror, the stand part that's going to keep my mirror up. So he's basically just doing that. We're discussing our setup and what we think, how we feel like we should set everything up. I'm not sure about how we have anything, because of the way we have it right now, and with the rail being slanted, it's kind of hard to picture. So once we get that mirror booth up, we'll definitely have a better idea of how we want everything to be set up. But for now, I'm just gonna basically help him with little things, fixing up the top prop table, just a little bit of the detailing, stuff like that, and keeping everything as clean as possible. I like to make sure our area looks clean, so whenever people are passing, it doesn't look like we just have a big mess everywhere. Especially because here, the event coordinator was walking around, and even the people who own the venue. So yeah, you want to make sure you keep your area nice and tidy as much as possible. And then I'm just fixing up the flower wall now. The flowers, some of them had fallen off. This is what happens because we zip tie the flowers to the backdrop, so sometimes they'll loosen up from moving it, and then since we shake the wall, when we take it out of the bag and stuff, some of them will come loose. So I'm just putting them back in. And then where there's any gaps that might have happened, I'm also gonna zip tie those. I don't know if I do that now, or I believe some of them were just easy to put in and I didn't have to zip tie them. And then some of them fell off of this little piece that the backdrop panel has, so it's just putting it on there. But then I also like to fix the green leaves and just kind of make everything look nice. But that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm more worried about the way the setup looks, and that's not that I'm more worried about that, but that's more my main focus. And then my husband will just work on the photo booth and setting that up, and the heavier stuff, I guess. This is our mirror booth, and we are basically gonna bring it out now and kind of see how everything's gonna look and get a better idea of how it's gonna be during the event, because we want to make sure that we basically test everything out. So we want to see, like, okay, our guest's gonna be able to open this door, like how's it gonna be with this door open, because once we set the booth up, we don't really like to move it around too much. So we think of every scenario, situation that can possibly happen, and then we make sure that the booth is set and we don't have to move it after we've already started. So yeah, that's pretty much what we do. And then here I'm just fixing the wall some more, and then we just like are talking about how we should do this. Like, we both are not really liking the whole setup, but we're gonna get rid of this box. We like to hide our mirror booth case behind the backdrop. We usually do that always, just so that like nobody can see it. This is always the perfect place to hide it, especially if you don't have anywhere to store it. Behind the backdrop is always great. That's where we always put it, always. And then so my husband's fixing the wiring right now, and then I'm gonna put down the red carpet, so like that we get a kind of better idea of how everything's gonna be. Now things are starting to fall into place a lot more, and then since we had a smaller place, I just needed to keep adjusting. Everything is about adjusting and putting up and setting up. You just want to make sure that everything looks nice, so you want to mess with it. So this is why I cannot stress it enough. You need to make sure you arrive early and you have enough time, because if you arrive literally 30 minutes before your event, now you only have 30 minutes to set up, and now you're rushing even an hour sometimes. Like, it's just, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, you're just gonna rush so much. We've actually started requesting, after this event, we started requesting floor plans of like the setup, because the venue normally gives this to the bride and then we'll ask her for it. This is mostly for weddings, just so we can have a better idea of where we're gonna be set up. Or like for other types of events, we'll ask them if they can send us a picture of where we're gonna be set up, so like that once we arrive, we have already an idea of where we're gonna be, so we don't have to look for someone to tell us exactly where we're gonna be at. And like that we can basically figure out ahead of time if there's any adjustments we need to make, because we really did learn our lesson from this event, because we literally got here and we had no idea where we were gonna be at. But yeah, so I definitely recommend doing that, asking for either a floor plan from like the bride, or asking for a photo of where you're gonna be set up. And my husband right now is cleaning the mirror booth. Like I mentioned, those yellow microfiber cloths, we love them. They're super soft and gentle, so we use them for everything. It cleans our screen really good. You want to make sure you're wiping everything down before your event, because a lot of the times once your event finishes, you don't really wipe anything down because you're just ready to go, so you just start packing everything. So most likely everything is going to be dirty from the event before, so just make sure you're wiping all your stuff down always. You want to make sure everything stays as clean as possible, especially for your guests, because they really do pay attention to all of that stuff. And then here I'm basically fixing everything and trying to figure out how we're gonna set this up. We also want to figure out, because we want to know where we're gonna put the printer and how we're gonna run wires. My husband is basically turning on the photo booth so we can start messing with the camera settings. We also like to turn on the booth and then basically get an idea of how far back we want our booth to be. So right here he basically turned it, and now he has it to like live view so he can see me on the camera. And we will basically just move the booth based off of this and adjust it, and he'll focus it and then have me check it, and then I'll focus it and then I'll have him check it, and we literally will just go back and forth until like we both think that it's picture perfect quality and like it's really good. So I didn't like the setup, so here I am moving it. And then right now what we're trying to do is basically make sure it's centered, so wherever the backdrop is centered, that's what's centered in the camera, because the majority of people will go and stand in the center of the backdrop. So you want to make sure that's the center in your camera. So now he's fixing it. And then we also look for our camera, we like vertical full long photos. So he's making sure that full body photos are going to be taken. So that's why he's pulling it as back as possible. This is why we request at least 10 feet. We say 8 feet, but if you want that full body photo, then we need 10 feet away from the backdrop. And that's probably how far we have the mirror booth right now from the backdrop. And then like I said, we're just gonna go back and forth, both checking. And then you also want to make sure that the backdrop and the rug are aligned equally in there. So right here I'm rotating the lens to focus on him, and it's always easier to focus, I've noticed, when somebody's standing in front of the camera. That's why we basically have each other stand in front. Once I approve, then we can close it, and now we can add the flash, because now we don't have to open that back part up. And yeah, it just makes everything easy. Now it's time to basically set everything up so that we both approve and that we both like it, and that it makes it easy for all guests. So everything has been approved. Now that's the flash of the camera. The other two light bars is just if it's really dark, the light bars will just keep our area super bright. And then I like it because the lights, the side ones, they make our area bright so people know like we're open. And then if we want people to know that we're closed, then we'll have those off. So when people see that off, they won't come to us. But then when they see that we turn them on, then it's kind of like a signal to people that okay, the photo booth is open and they're taking photos because of how bright our area is. It's really awesome. I definitely recommend getting some lights. It just also adds to like people being on that spotlight, red carpet type of, feel. Yeah, and this is our flash. The flash is definitely a must-have. This is what makes our pictures so great. This event was at night, so it got really dark in there, so we really needed like that flash. And then the side lights basically also helped with that. I'm just here basically organizing my table. I have my paper and my ink on my table because we still have not decided where we're gonna have our printer or how we're gonna have that set up. Here I basically will go to the front, and you want to make sure the flash is shining right to like the middle and it's facing down. And then you want to make sure the mirror isn't covering like the bottom of the flash. So I had to go stand in the front to just make sure, because if the bottom of the flash hits the back of the mirror, then basically what's gonna happen is your picture on the bottom will be dark. And then I like to put Velcro. We like to put Velcro to hold the flash in place. It doesn't damage our booth or nothing, and it works amazing. We use the Velcro for everything. That's what's holding the flash pole in the back of the mirror booth, and then we use the Velcro for our rolls of paper and our ink to basically keep it in place. We use the Velcro for our wires, and basically what we do is we just bought a big roll of Velcro from Home Depot, and it's not really expensive. It's pretty cheap actually, and we just cut it into the pieces, the sizes that we need. But like I said, my job basically will consist of fixing the prop table. Right now I'm actually getting the sign ready with the time, so people know what time we start. And it's awesome because they'll see like photo booth from 8 to 10, and then let's say it's 6 o'clock. We'll have a lot of people asking like, oh, can we take a picture, like, are you guys ready? And then we'll tell them, like, they'll see our sign and they'll know like, wow, they arrived really early and they're already set up and they don't start till this time. Like, it just makes us look really good. I definitely recommend having a sign because it helps a lot, especially with people like wanting to know what time the photo booth's gonna be there. And then I've noticed that like when I have this sign up, since it says the end time, a lot of people won't really come after that end time because they'll know what time you're basically gonna be there for. So it's awesome. It's very rare when I have people still coming after. I will have people right at 10, you know, like right before, especially because we announce it. But it's awesome because after 10, like sometimes when like they change the time on us because of whatever, like they're running super behind on stuff, so we'll just push the time like 30 minutes and we'll end up staying till 10:30. Sometimes I won't have time to change that or whatever. Those last 30 minutes I'll have very minimum people because they'll be like, oh, I thought you were closing at 10. That hasn't happened often, but it has happened like once or twice where everything got pushed because the event started later than they had anticipated. But of course, like always, we work with you guys. We work with our people who hire us, our clients, and you know, the point is to make sure that they get the most out of their rental. And yeah, you're here to service them, so always make sure that if you can, if it's not gonna hurt you, to accommodate them, you know, if it's not gonna take that much, you should definitely consider doing it. And yeah, so right now my husband is putting in the ink for our printer. We always make sure to take out the paper and the ink because you don't want to have that inside the printer. Your printer can mess up if you have it inside, so we always take it out. You want to put back a cushion inside. But this is basically how my setup came out. So we just finished setting up, and like we said, we're put in a like tight little corner right outside, and like the railing is like curved, but we were able to definitely make this work. It is a bit harder because we're literally right next to this door, and this is the entrance to the hall, so we're actually right outside. And yeah, we normally put the like prop table right next to our booth, but we kind of had to just put it over here. So our layout is a bit different, but it doesn't look bad. We were able to make it work. Like always, we try our best to make these things just work out. Hubby's still not happy with the layout, so he might mess with it.
So if you have any ideas, or it's just anything, if you have a better way of setting this up, let us know in the comments below, and make sure to follow and like.
Yeah, because look at how we kind of had to do our prop table right next to the mirror.
This is kind of like bugging me. I gotta move the printer. I just don't know where we're gonna put it right now, but it's gotta go.
Yeah, so we are ready. We start in another like 30 minutes. So we arrived 2 hours early. and luckily we still have time to basically mess with this, and hopefully we can figure it out and get a better layout. Thank you guys. So we are done with today's event. My hubby here is gonna pack everything up and I'm gonna help him right now. But yeah, that's it. Our wedding went super great. I'm super happy with the way everything turned out. It was a success. We made a lot of connections. Always remember, definitely work your events because you will make a lot of connections, and when you work your events and you're just in a good mood and you're helping people, like, they love it. We gave out a lot of business cards, so make sure to definitely get business cards. That's a must-have. And yeah, so hopefully from this event we'll get a couple bookings. People said they might book us, so hopefully. But that's kind of how we get, honestly, a lot of our events, and that's how we stay basically busy every weekend. So thank you guys again, like always, for watching. If you guys have any suggestions, any comments about anything from today's event, please drop it in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you guys. It's Leslie with Cam Photos.